Hello and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Tuesday, January 31st, 2017. Quickly, trading stocks is a high level of risk and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice, not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Wanted to give a shout out to 3 new subscribers, Carol, Lisa, and Wesley. Thanks for becoming part of our community. Hope you enjoy these videos. They go out every Tuesday and Thursday morning. I endeavor to get them out prior to 9:30. So with that, let's get into today's video. We always start off with a look at the Russell Index. We use the Russell as our proxy for the markets overall, and we want to make sure that the Russell is showing strength before we put any new charts forward. So we always step back to take a look at it on a 5-year monthly time frame. We've been paying particular attention to this blue, light blue shaded line that offered resistance back here in 2015. These are monthly candles, so you can see how the Russell came up, hit the blue line, and then sold off. But it is now support because in the month of November 2016, we blew through this light blue shaded line with increasing volume, and we are now trading in this area here. We've been noting the candle for the month of December a little more indecision, whereas this is a very bullish candle with a big wide body. This one has a wick at the top and a wick at the bottom, showing a little more indecision. And here we are for the month of January. It's the last day of the month, so we're getting, it looks like a little bit of a red candle. So December indecision, January a little more softness, so we're keeping a very close eye in this area. I've got this little wedge pattern drawn in here that you can better see on the smaller time frame, so let's go take a look at that. So we'll pull it into the 1-year weekly chart. And there's our same light blue shaded line that goes back all the way on the 5-year chart. And here's the little wedge pattern that we've been keeping an eye on. So here's the week so far. This is last week, which was still fairly bullish with a white candle showing a broader body and prices up and over that 8-day EMA on the weekly. But we need it on the daily to put new charts forward. So let's go take a look at that daily chart. And as you can see, this is the same wedge, same minor area of support on the daily chart. And yesterday started off pretty weak, but note the wick and the defense of this area. So the Russell is still holding that area of support. I'm filming this at about 8:30 on Tuesday morning, and the futures look to be opening soft. So we'll see, perhaps this is the day when we lose support on the Russell. But worth keeping an eye on. It made a valiant effort yesterday. So it's anyone's guess as to which way this goes and whether the trend continues higher or we start to break down and break through the orange line as well as our trend line here. 2 sectors worth keeping an eye on, XLF, which is the financials. This is our area of support on that ETF. And again, it showed a very valiant effort at staying, it was a red candle, so I'm not going to say it was a strong day, but the long wick meant that it was really defending this area. And the other one is IYT, the transports, same kind of a look. But so we're keeping an eye on these 2, but let's get back to our Russell. So as we note, we use this blue line, the 8-day EMA, as our guide. When price is up and over the blue line, we're putting new charts forward because the market is showing strength. But as you can see right now, it is not. It is still deciding which way it wants to go. So we will not be putting any new charts forward, but I will review 3 past Chart of the Day Cafe picks that might be worth keeping an eye on here. The market's going to be processing a lot of data in the days ahead. I think today alone there are over 30 companies still reporting earnings. And there are 4 central banks around the world discussing policy. So direction will be determined, but should the uptrend resume, here are 3 past Chart of the Day Cafe picks that I think look perky here and might be interesting to keep an eye on for your watch list. The first one is Darden Restaurants. I think we've talked about this one recently. We put it forward here at this little green circle here. We're looking at the 2-year weekly chart. Little green circle here at this area of support. You had to wait a little while, but it lifted up and over that 8-day EMA on the weekly. Everyone has their own way of doing things, whether you're weekly or daily, but it showed that strength, had this nice run up. It's consolidating here. So I want to pull it into the smaller time frame, and I'll show you on the daily. It might be worth keeping an eye on because it's trading in a flat range. I checked the scores on it this morning. They're still high. It also has a 3.03% dividend yield. So should the markets defend this area of support and lift, this would be one I would be keeping an eye on for sure. The next one we've talked about recently is ICE Intercontinental Exchange. Let's look at it on the 2-year weekly. I'm not going to go into too much detail on these because they're just review, but at Chart of the Day Cafe, we put it forward way back here in June of 2015. It kind of waffled around, but then it took off. It's now, we reiterated it here, it dipped down a little bit, but it then took off. We're up and over this new area of support, was resistance, now support, and it's trading in a way around here that I think looks interesting, and you might want to keep an eye on it. So let's go to the smaller time frame, the 3-month daily, and it's looking like it wants to get up and over that 8-day EMA, so I'd be keeping an eye on this one. Check the scores, they still qualify, and it has a 1.17% dividend yield. And the third one, I'm going to get into a little more detail on this one, is Magna International. It's dual listed on the Canadian and US side. It was an early pick at Chart of the Day Cafe for us. We're looking at the 5-year weekly chart. You want to note that it's overall in this uptrend. I put it forward in early 2015, this little green circle here. It had this nice lift from there. Over the next several weeks, peaked and then sold off, moved below the blue 8-day EMA. So as a reminder, when prices up above the 8-day EMA, we're interested. When it trades below, we are not. But it's getting into an area here. I wanted to highlight it for you. Look at the pattern that's shaping up. Nice wedge. So it's showing this wedge pattern is pretty powerful to me. It touched our trend line here, bounced off. Now these are weekly candles. Touched it again here, but it made a higher high. It moved up and over this orange line, and it's trading in this wedge. Let's get into it on the daily. 9-month daily. If the markets start to perk up here, Magna would be one I would be keeping an eye on. And now let's remind ourselves of IYT, the transport ETF, long wick yesterday. Who knows how it trades today, but should it start to show strength again, Magna would be one I would be keeping an eye on for sure, for a possible breakout of this little wedge pattern here. Let me go back and I'm going to spend a little bit of time reviewing some of the stats on this because it was such a pick so long ago. It's an auto parts, a global auto parts supplier. It's got the value scores I look for. It's got a modest growth score at 6%, forecasted earnings growth rate at 6%, so that's modest. But it's got a PE of 7.35, and it's got a dividend yield of 2.32%. I really like the pattern it's trading in. It's dual listed for those of you that are Canadian viewers. Might be worth keeping an eye on. You know, at Chart of the Day Cafe, let me pull it into the smaller time frame. It's all about the 3 and 8. I know everyone has their own way of doing things, but for me, it's the pink 3 EMA moving up and over the blue, and price moving up from there. Great. When it trades below, no longer interested. So it's trading in a way, should the markets recover here, that would suggest perhaps we might start to get that 3 and 8 cross. So it's Tuesday. We're not putting a video out till Thursday. These are ones that I would be keeping an eye on. Just wanted to remind you, if you like these videos, please subscribe to our channel by hitting the subscribe button here. And I also want to remind you again to check the discussion section at the end of every day. If I see a 3 and 8 cross on one of our picks, I will endeavor to put it here, or just observations on the day. We mentioned on Thursday last week softness in XLF, the financials, worth keeping in mind in the days ahead, and sure enough the market kind of softened from there. So if you find these comments helpful, always check the discussion section. I will try to post something in here Monday through Thursday. Thanks and have a great rest of the week. We'll post our next video on Thursday.